Relations Committee will come to order. We're here to consider nominations for 4 important positions. Senator Jeff Flake to be Ambassador to Turkey, Ambassador Mark Gitenstein to be the U.S. Representative to the European Union, Ms. Cindy McCain to be the U.S. Representative to the United Nations Agencies for Food and Agriculture, and Governor Jack Markell to be U.S. Representative to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD. So congratulations on all your nominations, as well as to your families who are part of the sacrifice in this process. We certainly appreciate them as well. The 4 of you have a distinguished history of public service and advocacy, and I appreciate your willingness to serve the country in this capacity. I understand that Senator Coons will be introducing Senator Flake in a great grand show of bipartisanship at a time that it's difficult to achieve it here, and Governor Markell, and that Senator Graham, who we welcome back to the committee, he left us precipitously, will be introducing Ms. McCain. So Senator Coons.
Thank you very much, Chairman Menendez, Ranking Member Risch. Before proceeding with more detailed introductions, I ask unanimous consent to add a statement from my predecessor, former Senator Ted Kaufman, a detailed statement of introduction and support of Mark Gitenstein to serve as U.S. Ambassador to the EU.
Without objection, and so ordered.
And I join Senator Kaufman in urging support for Mark Gitenstein, who I know will be a very capable and experienced ambassador, his second term of service as an ambassador to now an entire region so critical to all of us. I've known Jack and his wonderful wife, Carla, for 32 years. In Delaware, we pride ourselves in being able to work together. We're a state of neighbors, a state that cares about solving problems and doing the right thing, and no one epitomizes that more than our former governor and state treasurer, Jack Markell. As state treasurer for 10 years, governor for 8 years, Jack's been guided by strong values and a sharp intellect. His passion for helping others is rooted in his faith and strengthened when, at age 17, he had a chance to travel to India and to see profound inequality and deep poverty. And in the decades since, he has built a remarkable record of achievement, of creating opportunity, of not just talking the talk, but of taking effective action. Across two decades in leadership, he led innovative financial literacy and banking access initiatives, managed a severe fiscal crisis that affected our whole country, but did so responsibly in Delaware, helped grow our local economy, and showed real vision in creating new opportunities for people with intellectual disabilities. He helped create pathways to prosperity in the state of Delaware, a national model for helping workplace experience and college credit opportunities for young people, and launched one of the best language immersion programs in kindergarten. He has a deep understanding of the private sector and economic development. He has an MBA from the University of Chicago and helped launch and create the telecom company Nextel, a company now valued at $35 billion. So he understands both how to solve complex problems and how the United States can work with our OECD partners to put in place policies to create conditions for economic growth. He led both the Democratic Governors Association and the National Governors Association, and today he is leading Operation Allies Welcome, the resettlement of thousands of the Afghan partners who served alongside us in our 20 years in conflict. A dedicated and capable public servant with the experience, intelligence, and character to serve as the U.S. Ambassador to the OECD. I look forward to supporting him, not just in his nomination, but in his service, and urge my colleagues to do the same. Now, Mr. Chairman, if I might, I'm also honored to introduce my friend and our former colleague, Senator Jeff Flake. Senator Flake, to be clear, is a conservative Republican from Arizona, and I am a Democrat from Delaware. In the 6 years we served alongside each other, we voted on the opposite way of virtually every vote we ever took in the Senate. But during those 6 years, I came to know Jeff as an honorable man, as a principled public servant, as a patriotic American, and a loyal friend. We traveled together to more than a dozen countries, West Africa, East Africa, Northern Europe. We had the bonding moment of both being chased by elephants in Mozambique. We worked together on legislation to protect wildlife from trafficking, to protect the rule of law on the Judiciary Committee, to promote free and fair elections and economic reforms in Zimbabwe, where he did his mission service. Senator Flake has long championed American leadership around the world by promoting the rule of law, protecting human rights, and through strong international agreements. And his deep sense of right and wrong hasn't wavered. I'm confident that his commitment and character, thoughtfulness, and skills will serve him well in a very demanding post as ambassador to Turkey, where his abilities will be greatly needed to navigate difficult security issues, and one where his service will reinforce the importance of bipartisanship in foreign policy. I know he will be even more successful with his amazing wife, Cheryl, by his side, and I look forward to supporting Senator Flake's nomination and encourage my colleagues to do so as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Coons. I noticed you said you're a Democrat from Delaware. You didn't define what type of Democrat from Delaware, but in any event. Are there different types? Well, he said Senator Flake was a conservative Republican, so I thought maybe he wanted to share some light. We have to have a little fun here, otherwise it's tough to get through the day. To our dear colleague, Senator Graham.
Glad to be back, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. Our good friend Chris Coons is a short Democrat from Delaware, as I'm a short Republican from South Carolina. We literally see eye to eye on everything. So I just want to let the committee know, when Cindy called me last week and asked me to introduce her to the committee, I stopped for a second and thought, wow, I'm very proud to do it. I know John's looking down with pride. President Biden chose wisely. She's being nominated to be the ambassador to the United Nations Agency for Food and Agriculture in Rome, so all of us will be visiting you. I'm very familiar with this program because, along with Senator Coons, I'm the vice chairman of the Senate Appropriations Committee that deals with the State Department's budget and the United Nations budget. And the World Food Program just received the Nobel Peace Prize. That is run by David Beasley, the former governor of South Carolina. They received the Nobel Peace Prize because the World Food Program has made a huge difference. With the advent of war and climate change, there are so many people in this world not knowing where the next meal comes from, and the World Food Program has stepped up the plate, and the American taxpayer should be proud. The agency that Cindy's been nominated to lead as an ambassador, I think, is the key to this whole problem. It's one thing to provide meals, it's another thing to provide the ability to grow your own food. And Senator Risch, I am going to be all in working with this committee as an appropriator, along with Senator Coons, to beef up the capability of people throughout the world in impoverished regions to be able to farm as if it were the 21st century, not the 18th century. Cindy has a heck of a resume. I think we all know Cindy in a variety of roles. She's been a public figure for a long time, but to those who haven't followed her career, you should have. She has been deeply involved in the human trafficking scourge of the planet. She has been to the developing world, particularly Africa, numerous times, dealing with women issues and humanitarian problems, but I know her best from traveling with her, where we went to Africa with the Gates Foundation and others to look at how to modernize farming practices. We visited a woman who had two daughters, basically farming with her two daughters, and the Gates Foundation, Department of Agriculture, was trying to provide her with seeds that were more drought resistant, and over time to increase her family's capability to feed itself and actually earn money. So I'm excited about this part of the World Food Program, this agency, and I want to pledge to Cindy that I'm going to do everything I can to increase your capability to provide the best farming practices for those people who are on the bubble in terms of being able to live, and those people in dire situations to turn their lives around. And one thing that Cindy and I were talking about was water. Water is the new oil. And this agency, I think, is going to be very aggressive in how to manage water and make sure that we get the best utilization of water exists, and desalinization programs where it doesn't. So, Mr. Chairman, Senator Risch, we're going to be talking to you a lot about the portfolio under Cindy's control. And I just end with this. I've never known a more decent, capable person in my life. An ambassador is supposed to represent America in the best fashion. I think the two nominees here today that I know, Jeff and Cindy, will be the best advocates for American interest in Turkey, and I can assure you that when Cindy McCain shows up in a room anywhere in the world, people already know her, they respect her, and she'll be a great face for America. And working with Governor Beasley, we're going to turn this world around when it comes to feeding people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Graham. I know that both of our colleagues have other obligations, and so they should feel free to leave when they need to. Let me turn to our nominees. Senator Flake, welcome back to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Given Turkey's aggressive actions in the region, as well as the repressive tactics used by the Erdogan regime against its own people at home, we need an ambassador who will not hesitate to hold Turkey accountable and will push it to live up to the principles that undergird NATO membership: individual liberty, democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. Erdogan's repression is unbefitting of a democracy and unbefitting of a NATO ally. Democracies don't jail journalists, intimidate academics, and infringe upon freedom of religion. They don't renege on their commitments to stop violence against women, and they don't put political opponents in prison. So, Senator, you'll have your work cut out for you, and I look forward to hearing how you plan to address some of these challenges awaiting in Ankara. Ambassador Gitenstein, we welcome your nomination to this post at a critical time in the transatlantic relationship. The bond between the United States and the European Union has been tested in recent years. Former President Trump repeatedly mocked our European allies while sabotaging the strategic relationship at seemingly every turn. I believe that close ties between Brussels and Washington are not just in our national interests, but in the interests of democracies everywhere. Going forward, smart diplomacy, careful coordination with our European allies will be critical to dealing with the challenges we both face, whether it be Russia's ambitions in Eastern Europe, China's growing soft power influence and investment in the Balkans, or Turkey's aggressive behavior in the Eastern Mediterranean. Having an ambassador who works with our European allies will be an important first step. As Nord Stream 2 continues to be a concern, I hope you'll develop a strategy with our European friends on a comprehensive energy plan that shields Europe from extortion at the hands of the Kremlin. In short, we need someone with your knowledge, expertise, and proven record as a diplomat in Brussels as quickly as possible. Ms. McCain, congratulations on your nomination. I admire your years of advocacy for vulnerable peoples around the world, including your commitment to combating human trafficking globally. You shared that powerful commitment with your husband of almost 40 years and our much admired and missed colleague, Senator John McCain. For these reasons, I believe you're a superb choice to serve as the U.S. representative to the United Nations agencies for food and agriculture. The challenges these UN agencies face today, as you and I discussed yesterday, are enormous. In this year alone, the number of people in need of urgent food assistance is expected to reach 270 million people, double that of 2020. Conflict and instability continue to push millions of people into acute food insecurity. Climate change threatens food production, and the COVID-19 pandemic and climate change exacerbate the situation even further. Your role at the UN Food and Agriculture Organization is of the utmost importance in supporting the United Nations work to eradicate poverty, hunger, food insecurity, and promote sustainable agriculture-led economic growth. Your strong leadership will be essential to empowering, supporting, and guiding these agencies in this critical work. Governor Markell, congratulations on your nomination. Appreciate your service, not only as the governor of Delaware, but most recently at the White House coordinator for Operation Allies. At a time of growing nationalistic sentiment, we have to remain at the leadership of international economic and financial institutions, not abdicate that role. We have to work with our allies to create a stronger, more inclusive global economy that benefits everyone. The OECD is an important tool for U.S. diplomacy. Together with OECD member states, which account for 63% of the world's GDP and 3/4 of all of the world trade, we can confront the challenges of a global economy. So I look forward to hearing how you plan to approach the OECD upon your confirmation and how you'll use your position to advance U.S. interests such as free markets and good governance in the liberal international order. With that, let me turn to our distinguished ranking member for his opening comments, Senator Risch.